Hi, everybody. This is Gary Williams again, reaching out to friends and colleagues all over the world in our arts community to see how people like us are coping with this crazy, unprecedented coronavirus situation. And the lady waiting patiently there for me to stop talking is the wonderful Judy Carmichael. Welcome, Judy. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. It's so wonderful to see you in this new to me format. It's
New to me too.
fantastic.
You know, it's funny, isn't it? This question, we always say, how are you doing? But these days, that's an important question. And the answer is more important than ever before. So obviously, you've not been struck by the virus and you are doing okay so far.
Yes, yes. And I found out that somebody that I had stayed with in Los Angeles had the virus. And
What?
none of us, yeah, and none of us got it. He didn't realize it. He thought he had a cold. And then
Wow.
he lost his sense of smell and taste. So he's assuming that that's what he had, that he
Wow.
had that. And this is a very, very close friend of mine. So I hugged him. You know, we turned our faces when we said goodbye, but
Yeah.
he's 81. He was, and in the arts, so they had a little lunch while
He
I
is,
was
is
there.
he what age did you say?
81.
80. And how is he?
He's great, which is just one of those. I mean, I'm happy for him. This is someone I've known for years.
He is
He
a
was the
lucky
director.
81-year-old.
Uh, yeah, and he's very fit. I mean, he does yoga. He was the director of the Getty Museum in Los Angeles for
Right.
years, so he's very involved in the arts and everything. But I only found out 3 days ago. But I've been away long enough that I either got it, and I'm one of those people that carried it and didn't know it,
Yeah.
which would be in some ways terrific because then I'd be immune to it for a while at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
Or I didn't get it, but they had a little lunch and the other people didn't get it either.
Wow.
So yeah, I feel very fortunate that I'm not stuck on a ship because, like you, I do ship work.
Yeah.
That I'm at home. That I have a home, that I have a beautiful place where I can be. I mean, I'm wiped out financially, lost it all, 3, 4 months of work just gone.
So
And
you had
some
that kind of work in the diary and poof.
gone. I mean, it was interesting for me because it was such a shift. I was really fortunate because I was in California. Well, I was fortunate in two ways. All of January were two different ships, and I did two great trips. Everything was wonderful. Had a couple days in LA. Everything was great, very
Nice to
upbeat.
sort of fill up the bank account a little bit, right?
Yeah, and we were all thinking it was in China, and all the ships were talking about avoiding that. And then I left in French Polynesia, and then the person who replaced me, who I saw at the airport, then got stuck. He was on the ship, then went to Singapore and couldn't get on the next ship. So I mean, I really missed that by
Wow.
a few days. Then all of February, I had no work, but I was fine because I knew that March, April, and May were my big money months. And I had tons of work, all land work,
Yeah.
but wiped out. I got home from Los Angeles on Wednesday night, and Thursday morning, within 3 hours, 2 months, whoosh,
And
were
these kind
gone.
of land gigs, I mean, so often they take so long to set up, right? To find the work, to develop the contacts and to all the paperwork and the negotiations, and then it goes on sale and you're promoting it and hoping it's going to sell, and it does sell and the whole thing goes ahead. And for it to get that far and all of those gigs to be taken out of your diary is a tremendous blow. I mean, that's not just going to instantly come back when this thing's over with, right?
One of the things that was canceled for me was a 20th year celebration of my radio show. And it
Jazz
was going to
inspired.
be jazz inspired and be at a place called Radford University in Radford, Virginia, which is the first station to air my show
Right.
that took it all 20 years ago. So the head of the radio station had worked all year to get grant money from different sources within the university. If I taught an acting class, they gave some money. If I taught this, it was that kind of thing. Now, since that's all canceled or postponed, she has to give all that money back and get back in the queue for that money. She doesn't get to just keep
I mean,
it.
basically, that's the end of that, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be a fresh start when,
It'll
and
be,
of course, the 21st anniversary is not as good as the 20th anniversary. I mean, it's just, yeah.
well, we're
It
hoping it will happen.
sucks. Yeah.
We're hoping it will
I'm
happen.
sure
But
it
I think
will, but oh my God, the work and
that's
the
what I
wasted
think of.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
it isn't like just a regular job. And one of the other things, I mean, all of this said, I feel fortunate, as we said, we're home. I'll survive this. I think one of the great things about artists is that full-time working creative people is that we have skills that I think a lot of other people haven't developed. And I always say that we have an abnormally high tolerance for delayed gratification.
Sometimes delayed for decades.
Exactly. And we also have an abnormally high tolerance for uncertainty.
Right.
And I think that if we keep our wits about us, that we're the ones that can survive this sort of thing well, because we also are always working on something new.
Yeah.
You know, my first thought when all of this happened was, I can finally finish that book I'm writing.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'm going to learn a bunch of new, and I've talked to other people that have said the same
And
thing.
so many of us, we're so sort of self-contained little sort of machines, sort of manufacturing our own products,
Exactly.
right? And so, I mean, because whatever, and I guess this is the same, even if you're not in the arts, if you're a self-employed person, you know, often nothing happens until you make it happen. So you are used to being the engine, and that's particularly the case for us, isn't it? So if we're going to do a show, we've got to have the idea, we've got to organize the artwork, we've got to learn the songs, put the set together, speak to the booker. All of that stuff is usually just down to us making that happen. So we are used to, we're trained in rolling up our sleeves and making stuff happen, rather than somebody else saying to us, this is what you're going to do today, get on with it. Because if we were at that kind of mindset, suddenly not being told what to do every day, I think would just lead to 16 hours of Netflix.
Well, yeah, everybody was talking about, they were talking about streaming, you know, what is that thing when you watch, I call it glut streaming, but there's a real name for it. What is the thing when people watch a bunch of things in a row?
Oh, binging.
Binge watching, yes. I call it glut streaming. And that would never occur to me.
No.
And,
no.
you know, in fact, one of the things that you said in one of your other chats that I loved is you said the time was just flashing by, and all these things you thought you'd get done, you haven't gotten done.
Do you know what happens? It's like, I don't know, maybe I think we've all been in situations where you think, I don't know, maybe you're on vacation and you think, you know, I've got 2 weeks, I can relax, I'm going to read this book, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do some sightseeing. And suddenly it gets to day 10 and you think, oh my God, I've done nothing. And suddenly you were thinking you had all of this time, and then it goes by. And I'm sure this is going, I mean, we're going to be in lockdown for quite a long time, I think. This is not going to go away for a while. But still, I'm sure that when we come out of this, so many people are going to be saying, oh my God, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. And as soon as they come out of it, they're going to be going, oh, I'm so busy, I've got all this stuff to do. I could have done, right? It's always the way. And I mean, we have to, I mean, this is a terrible thing, and it's having such a devastating effect on so many people's lives, a seriously devastating. And we are incredibly lucky and incredibly fortunate just to be healthy now and to be able to talk to each other with this technology and so on, comfortable in our homes. Yeah. But despite the hardships that are going on all around the world, there is an amazing opportunity, I think, for so many people that are fortunate, like we are, to get things done. I mean, we've all got lists of things that we wanted to do. We've always blamed the fact that we haven't had the time to do them. But this is the proof of the pudding, right? Because now everybody's got the time. So actually, let's see if we've got the thing that really counts, and that is some self-motivation, because that's the difficult thing, I think.
Well, I agree. And I think that it's an opportunity for an attitude shift. And that's why I say that we've had to do that our entire lives that we've been in this career. And one of the ways that you and I really related with each other when we met was this attitude of,
What, that we never
okay,
stop?
yeah, this didn't work out. Take a deep breath. Well, one of the things that was really significant to me, and you will relate with it, is that when I was, in fact, I used it when I was writing my memoir. I was thinking, what is the purpose? What is sort of the epitome of this book? Because I can't just write a bunch of stories. What is going to be the thing? I don't want it to just be a self-help book, but what I want. And what it was a comment that someone made to me. My lower back went out and I couldn't move. I wound up, they sent an ambulance. I played 5 hours of tennis, totally my fault. I'd overdone it. Now I'm lying in the hospital in the emergency room, like with that thing where you can't move. I have someone hold the phone up to me and dial my massage therapist. And I say, meet me at my house. I can't move. I need you to get me walking. I need to be on a plane tomorrow to Berlin because I have a concert the next day. And the following day, I'm flying to Brazil for a tour. Okay, he comes over, he works on me. I'm still in a lot of pain, but I can walk. And I figure I can walk out on stage and fake it, just not get up very much.
We should explain that you play the piano and you sing.
Oh, yes.
So at least you're sitting for the whole thing, right? You're not doing contortion. So
I figured if I walked out on stage and sucked it up and didn't show the pain, I could sit down, play the concert, then walk off. I could do that.
Yeah.
So before the massage therapist left, he said, you know what I loved is that it never occurred to you that you wouldn't go to Berlin. And he said, just think if everybody had that attitude. And there was the purpose of my book. It was, don't sit around and whine. Don't think about all the disaster. Okay, this is the situation we have, which I think the happiest artists I know are this way. Certainly we know a lot of whiners, but the ones that have a great attitude, which I've always loved about you, is that they say, okay, the bar is raised. This presenter isn't going to pay me the money. What am I going to do? Or this didn't work out. Or in your case, one of the things I love, I need to learn Portuguese in a week.
It's a bit longer than a week. Unfortunately, I think it was going to be a week. Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
That week was the longest 6 months of my life.
Yes, exactly. But I think that I hope that artists will be supported by your series, psychologically supported. But I hope other people
tell me whereabouts in the world are you? Where is home for you right now?
I'm in the Hamptons, so I'm in my little village of Sag Harbor, outside New York. So I'm 100 miles east of New York City on Long Island.
I have another friend who also has a place out in the Hamptons, but she decided to stay in New York because she said that it seemed to be like more access to grocery stores and amenities, whereas people in the Hamptons, a little bit in the sticks, were struggling to get access to some of those things. Are you finding it?
Well, it was, of course, New York is the epicenter of this right now. We have the most cases of it and all of that. And one of the problems for us out here in where I live I'm in the eastern tip of Long Island. Someone looks at the map. Is that we had some New Yorkers who were going back and forth, who have second homes. Right. So all they were doing is coming out and infecting everybody. And we were a bit isolated.
Yeah.
We're pretty sleepy in the winter, and it's gotten much more crowded because a lot of people have just left New York City. That's what made it hard to get things at first. But it's actually pretty great. I'm glad I'm here because I have my little farm stand that normally wouldn't open until May has opened, and you can email them a list of what you want. They pack it up. They text you, you come and pick it up. So you're outside, you don't have to be near people.
So you're finding the places out and about, people are taking it seriously, and, people are exercising social distancing, and they're wearing masks, and they're taking the proper precautions.
Oh yeah, it took a while. I mean, we were late to the game. As you know, our president was denying this, and I mean, it was handled horribly in the beginning.
Which is so out of character.
I know. It was a surprise to me.
We shouldn't go there.
Yes, I know. But now, and especially, it's been fascinating. Our governor, the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo,
Seems pretty impressive.
it's very impressive. And he is, even people, I always liked him, but people that were not big fans of his before now hold him in such high estimation. They are just, I mean, his approval rating is 80%. You know, that almost never happens for any politician. But he gets on every morning and in a very clear-eyed, straight way, not depressing, but accurate, says,
Mm-hmm.
here are the numbers, this is what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So fortunately, we have someone like this, and it's made people very serious about this. Well, my little store in town, I'm like a 2-minute drive from my little village of Sag Harbor. They only let 20 people in the store at a time. Mm-hmm. Most of the people are wearing bandanas if they don't have masks. Mm-hmm. People are staying away from each other. So, you know, you're always going to have people who are.
You mentioned earlier on that this is maybe an opportunity for you to finish your second book, which is exciting. Are there any other projects which you are working on or know you're going to be working on? I mean, how are you using this time creatively and productively?
Well, I have to tell you, that book is on the 20 years of jazz inspired. So it's some of my favorite interviews, and that's almost done, but now it's bringing it together. Something that's been a big surprise to me, which I think is fantastic, is that when you have an opportunity like this that you never get, you're not really sure what might come up, you know, in terms creatively.
Yeah.
For me, I've always been resistant to making videos, doing any of that. I find so much of YouTube so self-indulgent, disingenuous, narcissistic. I'm you know, old and cranky. I'm just beyond all that. So I've never wanted to do any of it. So I made a video the night I was supposed to open it at Jazz at Lincoln Center. I did a little silly fake, you know, a concert that I said for people who are immune to coronavirus. And then the camera turned around and I had an audience of stuffed animals. So, and I did a whole thing. Well, and I did it on my terms. I thought I'll do something funny, and I played a tune. And I figured out a little bit how to edit. I'd never used iMovie or anything. Well, it's gotten 6,000 views and counting. That's huge for me. I get 100 views. It's not like, you know, I do social media because I have to. Well, the next day, I thought, maybe if I learned this thing, that was such a shock to me. That then the next one, I had a soundtrack and credits, and I'm going to have a full-length movie by the end of this. Well, so I put this out, and I have to tell you, Gary, I had so much fun with it. It was learning a new skill, a new creative skill, not for any real purpose, but I thought I'm going to do this thing because it had frustrated me. I think you mentioned this a little bit the other day in one of your talks. But everything that has come out that I've been emailed about helping musicians are really just other ways for us to give our music away free. There are all these, give a concert, do this. I've had radio stations contact me, and I'm thinking, this is a lot of effort to sit down and do a free concert. It's even more, you know, for a lack of an audience. Mm-hmm. So in the midst of that frustrating me, I spent hours teaching myself this iMovie thing, and sure enough, I got a movie project out of it. An Oscar-winning filmmaker saw this and contacted me and has involved me in a documentary he's making about Hazel Scott. And he said, you did have a professional film years, didn't you? He said, because he loved the sort of the way it was put together. And I said, I just learned iMovie.
That's amazing. But isn't that a great example of something really tangibly positive, which you will take away from this experience, which is so grim, and you've lost all this work, you've lost all this money, but you know, that will come back eventually. This will go away. We will get back to normal. And you will have this new skill set to use and take forward for the rest of your career. It's really great. Judy, we've run out of time. It is so great always talking to you. You make me feel happy. You make me feel good, which is an important thing in these days. So thank you for sparing the time to talk to us, and stay safe and stay well. Lots of love to you.
You too. Thanks.